All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Vigilantes, episode 7. Stain had his origin.
His advent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a bit messed up in the head, both mentally and also now physically, because you get a blunt fist with metal on it that comes at you that fast while you're also charging.
Yeah, he almost got dusted. Like
it's not gonna go well.
I don't care how enhanced humans are in this superhero world. You take a counterpunch like that from someone actually wearing
packing,
those. Yeah, you're lucky you didn't have a full skull fracture, brain damage.
Yeah, there's a reason that those are considered weapons.
They are weapons
because they
can be lethal. You hit the right spot with enough force.
That is not I just need this for self-defense kind of thing. No.
Yeah, you become part of somebody else's backstory.
Right, exactly.
But wow, okay, we've been getting some really cool origin stuff for characters in the larger MHA world. So I'm excited, given that this season is pretty short, all things considered, what the last few episodes are going to be focused on, because we've covered a decent bit of stuff that's not really as focused on the main characters, but I would love to have more renewed focus on the main cast.
And while Queen and Stain did have a falling out, Queen is okay. So they'll probably be enacting some new plan, probably this episode or the next one.
Yeah, but without further ado, let's get into this. College life. Yes. Actual hero history.
Yeah.
In college. Feels like it would not have a lot of credits for that job. Or that class. Friend? Oh. Hello.
Hi.
Hero sociology.
サークルの先輩とかからノートのコピーもらった方がいいよ。俺サークルとか入ってないんで。そうか、ぼっちか。
Flying solo.
Sure.
私は荒野ゼミのマコト。何若い子引っ掛けてんのよ。イエーイ。東成畑の廃墟の怪物っていう。
Wait.
Damn, that's rough.
Oh, is she the one in the opening?
All right,
yes.
Sounds pretty good.
I'm guessing she's gonna be a reporter. That's the vibe she gives me. Of she's going to be a journalist or truth. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, this is amazing.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh,
no.
That's so funny.
Close the door. Get the fuck out. Get the fuck out.
What? Yes, that's why.
Right.
Yes, I love it. Oh my gosh! So what's her reason for doing this other than just being nice? Yeah.
Sure.
Yes, let's get into this. Yeah.
Right. It was all vigilantism.
Whoa, so did those end up becoming the first heroes, actually?
I think so, yeah. Yep.
Whoa!
Right. It's like a pirating streaming site that then becomes official. Japan. No, America.
いわゆるロードアイランド新州法の適用対象となったビジランテは
Whoa, this is cool art, yeah.
その中で正式なヒーローとして認められた人がどのくらい
12. Yeah.
中にはヒーローっぽくない人もいただろうし半分くらい
No, it's like It's gonna be like 5. Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
I love it.
個性犯罪者としてヴィランに分類
Whoa.
実のところ公認制度の
Uh-huh.
ヒーローの認可ではなくヴィランの定義にこ
That makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah, because-
dang.
Right, because if you have vigilantes, you would also have people absolutely, like, using it to just do whatever they wanted.
この管理的側面については
Right.
自己決定権を侵すものであるとして未だに議論の対
Sure, because if a quirk is a natural part of your body.
Yeah.
誰が見張りを見張るのか問題のバリエーション
Yeah. Who will watch the Watchmen? Thank you. Yes.
すなわち私的正義は公的正義たるヒーロー制度の祖であると
And its biggest, critic. Yeah.
対立者でもある苦戦張ったとこ
There you go.
Cool.
助かります
All right, and now here's the thing that I need your help with.
ヒーローとヴィランを分けた決定的な要素って一体何だと
Oh.
Well,
法律守るとか
no. Like how popular they were.
ごめん今のはテストの話じゃ
This is why she's doing this.
Okay.
近頃噂のナルハタのビジラン彼らについてのフィールド
Okay. Cool.
現代のビジランテという生きた化石的存在
A sort of living fossil. Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
まあ
Yeah, I know some
Right.
things. Yeah.
ホイホイ近づくのは危ないんじゃないですかね。
そこでボディーガードの出
Oh my god.
これっすか。
You need to be the bodyguard for her to talk to Knuckle Duster.
Yeah.
Imagine the interview.
今度の土曜日か。
何ニヤニヤしてんのよ
the,
Yeah, because he didn't know the whole time.
The like gremlin looking like. "Eh." Oh, whoa.
All right. Well, yeah, what's her home life like?
Well, did you see that when she didn't have one on, she had like no iris?
ただいま。
Oh.
久しぶり警部
No way.
Okay.
No way.
That's
This is
interesting.
awesome.
ヒーローとかヴィラン関連でなんかいいネタない
捜査情報も。
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sister. All
Right,
right.
because they have the same eyes. They have the same like blank eyes. Yeah.
ヒーローはまだしもヴィランに興味本位で近づいたりするんじゃないぞ。
あらそこは罪を憎んで人を憎まずがポリコレでしょヒーローとヴィランは表裏一体合法非合法はその時々の線引きによるというスタンスを私は
He's like, I'm not here
Yeah.
for a debate.
Uh-huh.
Just-
何よあの女人の家に我が物顔でズカズカ入ってきて
I wonder. Yeah.
だよね。
私が隠れなきゃいけないのよ信じらんない
Yeah, interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Who would ever barge into someone else's personal space?
ペイントを交えつつ相手に近づいて足を横に伸ばして引っ掛ける。
Tripping the leg never works.
そのまま後ろ向きに逃げる。
I mean, but good job scooting around.
I love the way you attack and then run away really fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
変なの超うざいし
実は
That sounds awesome.
Oh. Yeah.
万が一俺たちの身元が第三者に漏れれば、警察や悪党どもが山ほど押しかけてくるぞ。
I don't think the villains care about you guys that much.
No.
嗅ぎ回ってくるやつに任せる方。今回は任せるが、
Yeah.
しかし公私混同は良くないぞ。
全くだし
この場合と
Yeah, which is
Uh-huh.
which, actually? That's a good question.
In fact, just answer that for yourself, because I'm really curious.
I am too. Knuckle Duster is such an enigma, you know?
こいつくん今日はよろしくね
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a
whatever you
woman.
say.
She's not a girl, she's a woman.
Pretty lady. Oh my god. Of course.
SNS などの情報から彼らがよく現れる場所
Huh, they're all kind of around your apartment.
Well, they are neighborhood vigilantes. Like,
Right.
it is that localized.
Yeah, it's-
so, of course, that's why she's talking to
Yeah.
him in the first place. It's a
Right.
foregone conclusion.
おそらくそれは法と倫理でもなく
Right.
社会的支持
Yes, I
yeah.
knew it. Popularity. Yep, I was right. Yep.
一律のルールで縛ることには限界があるのよだからその力の使用
It's literally the issue with Shinso. Remember, like
yeah.
the exact thing here. It's still at play.
原始的ヒーロー る旗のビジランテが地域の住民にどう受け入れられているのかという
God, that's such a great art. Like,
彼らが
人々にどう思われているのか、それはぜひ知りたい。
じゃあ早速街頭インタビュー
right.
Fantastic.
Interview just general people. Yeah.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be them. Oh my God, yes.
I love it.
The crawler! Fistigeezer.
クローマンちょっとキモいあいつ絶対
Oh, because of his
Yeah.
ways
Down
on the ground. Oh my God. Oh God. Oh my God.
なんか通り魔みたいなおっさんがうろついてて
Oh boy.
ヴィランと素手で殴り合うとか無理無理ありえないって裏話でしょ
It's not barehanded, you know.
ステップに関する意見で多かったのはお尻かわいい
Wow.
クローマンはキモい便利だけどキモいいいやつっぽいけどキモい不気味でキモい
Damn.
ざっとまとめるとこんな感じね
What?
Okay. Hey.
What is this? Is quirk is soccer? Yeah, how is that a quirk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
ローラーの正体は決してバレてはいけないが、ちょっといいとこ
I think your voice being what it is, how does soccer as a quirk even work?
Well, and if
While
he's-
dribbling,
Yeah.
he's lucky or something.
新技高速ダブル足払い。ドリブルしながら動け。
While dribbling!
oh,
Emperor's shot!
Scott Sterling. Smack, crash.
Save the laptop! Oh,
Okay.
oh my God, it's...
大丈夫いやパソコン
Wow.
を消そうとし
Smooth.
Okay.
先輩が取材してる例のビジランテがさっそうと駆けつけてく
Right,
れて、
right, right.
彼の頼もしいこと。
Nice, nice, nice.
God, I love those two. They're so...
Just goofy.
They're just JoJo characters that are just
Yeah.
happen to be here.
できれば私も噂のビジランテに会ってみたかったけど
Yeah, yeah.
今後の課題かな
Next time,
本当は
yeah,
君がクローマン
yeah,
なんでしょ
yeah, yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah, she
Oh,
got
no!
you. She got you good.
違いますよ。
Because she said the crawler,
Right,
not the crawler.
right, right. Yes, amazing.
Fantastic.
She was so certain too.
yeah.
ある材料だけでも形
She's all bummed.
Like, huh?
地味じゃダメだ。
I love
All of that for the bit that he can then beat the polygraph.
it. Right.
ホップステップ、尻、尻、歌下手、尻だけ、もっとケツ出せ。みんな分かってないっていうか、そもそも俺はクローマン。
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
そんなの私にってどうするのよ
Oh my
Fantastic.
God. What a funny little side story bit, all
Yeah.
for the crawler joke.
And I was so worried that when he was like, oh, you know, that he would actually say the crawler and that would be what would give it away.
Right.
You know? But no, he did good. He's just
yeah.
like, oh, just one of those vigilantes, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
researching. Yeah.
All right, we got the philosophical,
Yep.
political, let's
Uh-huh.
talk about where the line between vigilantes and heroes is episode. And then we also had in combination, the actual, like, kind of potential, investigation into whether or not someone's found out who the vigilantes are.
Right.
And it's completely solved with a joke. This episode had basically two very different, I feel like, chapters of their, like, manga adapted here.
But
And
I feel like it totally
Yeah.
worked. Like as far as like self-contained episodes,
Yeah.
right? This was great. I feel like it didn't lean too much on like or at all really, on, oh, hey, these are things that you know from like the original series or anything like that, right?
Gave us pretty new stuff, honestly.
Pretty new stuff, while at the same time exploring the themes and all that stuff and the world building in a cool way, because how did heroes get started? Yes, they absolutely would have started as vigilantes. Yeah, there would have absolutely been plenty of bad apples, in the mix, right? What would have been the defining factor?
And I love that they don't know. They don't know. This is what she's supposing it was. And I love that that's like the fun part here, is that because you're going to have an answer potentially in the books, but you know for sure that like things are already, and because this was brought up, I like that this is something that's just being reminded of, is that when we had in season 2 of MHA, All for One being brought up, there was a very clear thing that was revealed, that the history books lie specifically about the way that the early ages of Quark started, because All for One basically took over the country for a long period of time. And they don't talk about this specifically because they don't want to build up that dark period of time.
Exactly. And it's part and parcel with All Might's whole thing of, the smile that keeps, people safe, right? Because it's both that, the villains know, all right, the heroes apparently have everything handled, but then also people don't have to worry, right? Because it's not actually like the people that are supposed to keep people safe. It's not actually about whether or not they keep people safe. It's about whether or not they make people feel safe. Right. And
now this is Japan's history, but in terms of the world's history with regards to quirks, I love that they're bringing in also the way that this was different in other countries as well. The idea that the first actual hero agency came from the US specifically, and thus that idea of the celebrity forward, like, kind of culture surrounding heroes came from an environment that primarily pushes, in a lot of ways, culture through celebrities and stuff like that. So
it makes total sense.
It makes even more sense in that regard. Whereas in Japan, there was a point probably where there were people doing heroic things with their quirks or what have you, just as much as there was people doing crime with their quirks. For a large period of time, All for One had almost like a mafia hold on the country. So the ones that also would have come about to be heroes in Japan pretty early on would have been vigilantes, not obviously at the very beginning, because All for One took a while to come about as a person in power, but
and the whole idea that once you have quirks, the notion of having a different kind of categorization for self-defense based on whether or not you're using your quirk, when a quirk is something that basically everyone has, like that's a fundamental difference for the MHA world compared to like most superhero fiction, because
the heroes are few.
Heroes are few, right? It's the they're othered and stuff. You have the whole X-Men thing and all that. Whereas here it's just everyone has a quirk. Not all quirks will necessarily be useful, but how do you talk self-defense when there's so much regulation on the these people are heroes, but people who aren't heroes who then do things, they get put into the vigilante category at best, but oftentimes they'll just get put into the villain category. The fact that the Cyclops dude, did his laser thing to stop the person that's, running away, theoretically, that should be able to be treated the same as if somebody, tripped and, and tackled the person.
Right. The part where this also kind of ties into the ones that have morphic quirks, basically, as well. The ones that have an actual visual identifier specifically with regards to their quirk, because most of the quirks, if not all of them, have some physical aspect, even if that's primarily tied to the physical drain that it takes to use your quirk, because they are all tied to the body in some way. I love that that's just always a factor with regards to MHA's quirks, so you don't get the Professor Xavier just, I have telepathy with unlimited, just stuff
Right.
there. But if you had someone like Invisible Girl, for instance, the difference basically of whether she would have been classified as a hero or a villain
Oh, yeah.
could be basically just, at one point when you were younger or when you were starting to become an adult or what have you, you used it in an unregulated way that got you caught
Right.
for doing something.
Oh yeah, well with any kind of heteromorphic, like permanent, your physical body is different. If that's relegated to then quirks, and then that then puts you into the category of now whatever you do is now treated as a hero villain type situation.
Yep.
If you're a kid and you steal something from the grocery store, and your parents are like, oh, that's bad, we don't do that. But oh, hey, you're constantly invisible. Now that's actually treated as something where, you already are a villain at the age of 5 or something, right?
Right. This is extreme, but it's the thing that in the beginning, what they were bringing up is that it's very likely that a quirk like that could be something that gets you notoriety in a negative,
Right.
obviously way. That's what notoriety is. But I'm like, yeah, this is just.
It's something where they're showcasing additional layers of how the laws of this world do not actually account for even most of the situations, right? And the heroes, that's one of the reasons why they probably need to be propped up and made to be icons and everything, is to distract from how many cases the law just doesn't cover things well.
Right. You would need to basically have a human hand come in and apply reason, basically,
Yeah.
where the law just doesn't work super well.
Right. And
Like-
and just in our day and age, just in the digital side of things, you can very quickly see how that just doesn't end up working.
No,
right?
like in a lot of ways, I think of it kind of like speed limits, basically. That most people in a car, like in the US, for instance, break the law every single day by going above the speed limit.
Sure.
But going above the speed limit isn't going to get you a ticket or some kind of thing or what have you. But going 9 miles an hour above the speed limit
Right.
within an environment that is like a 25 is way different than going 69 in a 60 mile an hour situation.
Yeah. Well, and the idea that
Both are breaking the law, but only one is probably going to get you pulled over.
sure, and also the whole idea that the people who make speed limits and everything, they know that. So so when they're figuring out how do we control and make sure that people are driving at a safe speed, they know that people are going to be exceeding the speed limit, probably by about this much. And so, okay, we'll set, the amount that we want people to actually be going below, cool. We'll set the speed limit below that so that
Right.
then, they'll go above it by a
Right, but
certain
it's a
amount.
pretty asinine law, though.
Sure.
Like it's not then an actual law because then everybody's breaking it. It's the thing of where, from a technical perspective, going 1 mile an hour above the speed limit is breaking the law.
Correct.
The idea of unregulated quirk use being an actual law-breaking thing in this world means then that when she polygraphed him right there, she broke the law.
Sure. Yeah. Like it's right.
She is effectively using the quirk for her own selfish gain.
To sum up, this law about defining heroes and villains, well, she brought it up.
Oh, she
but
absolutely
it was
brought it up,
more
yeah.
about being able to categorize who villains are than what makes a hero, and that's of course that's the what villains are, but it's not just being able to then bring justice to the people that are doing things that they shouldn't or whatever. It literally is then just creating criminals, right? Which it can get into all kinds of funky territory depending on how litigious it's being followed up on.
It absolutely falls entirely into this is how you build a prison system that runs actual politicians is like backing financially because
they're for profit.
Well, yeah, because they could be for profit, and they're like, oh yeah, you're going to help us make more criminals by the way that you legislate for specific stuff here. Yeah, absolutely. There's all kinds of dark stuff this could get into.
Minimum sentencing for nonviolent crimes.
Oh my god, yeah. Wow. And then just the idea that for instance here, the crawler going around and zipping around on his hands and feet, you know, in a public street or what have you, is something where there's like, you know, laws for like bike lanes or where you're supposed to have specific things. But what's the rule for a person running in like a public street and jaywalking and stuff? Basically, he's like, breaking the law probably just by using his quirk to zip around normally to get to work a little bit faster, but no one's ever going to enforce that.
Well, and if they do, if the law is, you know, semi-sane, if the law system is semi-sane, it's the, hey, here's a ticket. You know,
fine.
Yeah, exactly. Here's a fine.
And then it's pay to win in society, basically.
No, oh, totally.
You know?
But then it's the, you rode your motorcycle in the bike lane to pass traffic. You can't do that, right? You know, you have to pay $150 or whatever, right?
Right.
You know, as opposed to
but then it's pay to.
Oh no,
you know,
no,
play,
totally. But
know?
as far as you know,
levels of infraction,
levels of bad, right?
Yes.
That is. You know, using that as an equivalent, since that's effectively what he has here, right? That is far better than having it be the, you are using, like, Koichi hasn't even broken any laws other than the unregulated use of his quirk, right? Like, he's just,
that's a whole category.
No, right. But the things that he's using his quirk to do are not bad, right? Even when he's
meaning illegal?
Correct. Yeah. Even when he's like fighting villains, he's not actually fighting villains. He's showing up and, hey, come after me instead of them, and then he zips away and, you know,
now he is. Now he is. He's doing leg sweeps now. So he's actually physically altercating with other citizens.
Yes, theoretically he is now learning how to fight, right?
Yes.
But barring all of that, right? Calling him a vigilante, right, that's almost like an insult to Knuckle Duster, right? You know, like, you know.
I was wondering where you were going with this, and I'm like, oh, gotcha. You're not talking literally. You're talking emotionally.
Like Pop Step. Oh yeah, she isn't. She's not. You know, paying for whatever licenses for street performing or whatever, you know, like that's what she's doing, right? You know, yes, vigilante, right? You know, whereas Knuckle Duster going around being
but there was never an argument about good or bad. This is about laws, legal or illegal.
No, totally.
Laws change to suit the way that culture basically is headed.
Right. But the idea that and maybe they won't go into this because this is going into too much detail of like legal system stuff. But even in like our legal system, all crimes are not equal, right? There's the felonies, there's the misdemeanors, and there's, you know, first offense, second offense, all that stuff, right? So theoretically, there could be something where it's the, yes, you got, you know, ticket, misdemeanor, you know, vigilantism, you know, versus like, oh shit, you know.
Absolutely there is. And that's all well and good. I just find it very fun and interesting that we've had multiple times that the heroes have encountered the vigilantes here. They don't care. No. Honestly. They don't care because they're people.
Right.
They're people and they make judgment calls, but it then pulls it all the way back into, wait, so then these heroes have fiat power to ignore the laws.
Right.
Because they actually don't enforce the laws. They don't enforce the laws.
Right.
They are private corporations, basically, that run on their own popularity and their own thing. So they are an Ouroboros snake eating the popularity of the fans to then shit out stuff that makes them more popular to then eat. And it's so gross when you think about it. Like,
so one of the things that is very much a thing in lawmaking is that they will often make the laws more strict than is necessary, but then they will put something in there stating the intent of the law so that way it's the, hey, we can punish someone for doing XYZ. It's supposed to be used to get people for this, but because we don't want people to get off on technicalities, we make it more broad.
Yes.
But then as a result of that, you have situations where, yes, you have a hero who's in a good mood.
System because then you argue the technicalities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but then
intent.
Right. But then you have situations where the heroes say are just in a good mood or whatever, or are decent people. And so then they decide, obviously you're not doing anything wrong. Like, you know, I could give you a fine or whatever for this, but clearly I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about the person who's going around blowing stuff up or whatever,
I've seen absolutely absolutely this exact same kind of thing when my grandma, our grandma, was basically caught doing something wrong in her car. Cop pulled her over, and she explained in the most like old lady kind of way, and he very kindly was like, well, you know what? The I didn't see that excuse doesn't fly. So I just need to let you know, you need to be aware of the kind of place that you're in, even if you don't see the signs or what have you.
Sure.
I'm going to take this moment to educate you in 20 seconds, but I have better shit to do, basically.
Right.
So have a nice day, lady. Don't do it again. And I was like, whew, Grandma, that was I'm like, I Googled that. That was a few $100 you basically just dodged right there. And she's like, oh, well, okay, you know.
Right.
And,
yeah, but then if you have something where, oh, hey, you know, a cop or a hero is in a less jovial mood, right? Then it becomes something where it's just, all right, okay.
Get fucked, you know?
Yeah, right, exactly.
And that's the part which makes this so gross, basically, is that the heroes are incentivized not to enforce the law the best way,
but to sensationalize.
But to sensationalize and make themselves as popular as possible.
Oh, yeah.
And we have literal different examples of this in the MHA world of people that, you know, catch villains laughing while doing it.
Yeah.
You know, to build the most morale boost for the people in general.
Yeah.
You have Endeavor, who's like, I want my numbers to be high.
Yeah.
I want to catch as many
burn
people.
you. Yeah.
Well, no, I want to catch as many people as possible.
Sure.
And he was always better than All Might at that, because All Might would almost in some ways commercialify his stuff there, even though he was doing good work and stuff.
Right, the commercialifying definitely helped. Yeah.
The commercialifying definitely helped, but you could say that All Might's goal wasn't catching as many criminals as he was actually making.
It was being a symbol of peace.
Being a symbol of peace.
And now, that's great when it works really well.
Right,
but if you're actually just like a prank influencer and that's your symbol that you're making, oh, hey, it does make you popular after a fashion, but...
Well, you could say that in a lot of ways that's what makes Stain the problem, but also someone that was so impactful.
Right.
Was that he used his potential influence to spread his own symbol in that regard.
Yep.
But... you know, Endeavor, someone who was a pretty horrible person for, like, almost the entire series.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much like did the right thing in that he caught so many criminals. But if your justice system is so flawed that he could just decide who was a criminal because it was technically unregulated quirk use.
Yeah, no, the yes.
You see where this gets really slippery.
The best defense that they would have for something like that is that unlike maybe police officers, they themselves are very well known as individuals. And so then if that stuff gets out, then that will damage their reputation, basically.
Right. And this is something that I'm excited to see if they actually end up bringing up in this, because of the moral gray area with all this world and stuff, is that in Japan, in the real world, the prosecution to...
the 99% conviction rate for prosecution.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Meaning that if you
I've been playing P5,
if you do end up actually getting accused of a crime, the courts are not going to help your defense, at all.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Japan is notoriously bad in this regard. And this is something that, like, they could actually bring up in the story. MHA and...
is not being as direct with the call-outs.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
I would say in a lot of ways...
if you haven't played P5, play it.
Well,
it's great.
P5 is great. Yeah. But I would say that this is an area where you can use this a little bit to get indirectly at the, okay, but what if someone, like, for instance, in the very beginning, I think, of MHA, when the big giant villain starts destroying things around the bridge and what have you, you had then a bunch of heroes jump in to save the day and stuff.
Right.
But I believe there were a couple civilians that used their quirks in self-defense to try and avoid getting killed, basically.
Yeah, whether it was that one or it was like the slime monster or something. There was like the dude who dropped to the ground and had the force field bubble go over him and things like that. Yeah,
things like that. Now, like, if that had happened to, like, you know, hit like a car, hit the force field, or
someone trips over it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Could that person who created the force field be liable for that person's...
Well, and that's where you get all the very fun stuff of like, you know, reading up on just the real world things of like, oh, someone tries to go and report a crime, you know, oh, my kid was predated upon online, you know, or something like that. And then suddenly they're trying to arrest the kid, you know, and it's like, oh,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
There's a common sense thing that I think is important here, but it gets at in a lot of ways the issues with even a decent justice system, like even a decent one. And that's that the people who enforce the justice system are not your friends.
Right.
Regardless if they're the cops or if they're the heroes in this world or what have you, they don't actually care about you. They don't.
Right.
They care about the system that they are trying to uphold.
They are at a job.
Yeah.
They're doing work, and there's some, and you are
You're a number.
You're a number that, you know, may or may not have a good effect on their performance review or whatever.
Yeah, and that is a chilling, not very kid-friendly thing to accept.
Yeah.
And there's problems with that. There's issues. Like in a very silver line kind of world like MHA and stuff like that. I love that now that we're in the Vigilantes spin-off kind of alternate look at things, we can look at where that shadow is behind the silver lining. Like,
absolutely.
I'm excited to see them go into that a little bit more, especially given that we tried to cut it off as quick as possible, but the little teaser for the next episode seems to be about an American superhero.
And they literally brought up the whole Who Watches the Watchmen thing. So it's like, all right,
Okay, let's get into it next episode.
Yeah. Also, just I do like the thing that they brought up in this show, even though it was a long time ago. Aizawa's thing of heroes don't have jurisdiction over non-quirk related crimes, which I think is very important, because can you imagine how terrifying that would be if you swiped something from a convenience store and then suddenly All Might's outside. And it's just like, oh.
Well, right, but that's why All Might doesn't do every single... He doesn't deal with every single criminal or what have you.
Endeavor's outside.
Maybe one of Endeavor's sidekicks is out there,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
One of his 100 or whatever ones out there. But yes, that's a great kind of example of things, in that it would be very terrifying in a world where you don't know what kinds of quirks everybody has, to bring up a more like U.S. kind of equivalent here.
No, how do you even legislate levels of brutality, when you have quirks and shit, and you don't know what the other person's quirk is that you're up against.
Because it's not about whether you're up against them. It's just the idea that like any person out there should not be able to just whip out basically a Glock at any point and just be like, I end your existence in that regard. But that is the equivalent of basically what the MHA world is. Everyone has
far beyond
that.
Like this is the Parks and Rec thing of the I will make it so that every vehicle has a mounted automatic grenade launcher. Right? like
You're such a real one for the Parks and Rec shout out. Oh my gosh.
But
wow. Yeah. Fun stuff that they're teasing us with, and to have it in this very lighthearted episode,
right?
Given how much they can go dark, like they did in the previous one. This is fun. This show has some legs if they want to. If they want to, keep things grounded like this. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel. See if any of that interests you. We'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.